This is exactly how we took a client from making $24,000 in the month of December to making $74,000 cash collected in the month of January. Okay, so let's get straight into the video. But before we do that, I want to give you guys a bit of context and show you some actual proof that we actually did the $75,000 cash collected. So here's the first one. So this is December, $24,000 cash collected. Okay, and in the month of January, $75,000 cash collected. Overall, we increased every single metric. Okay, in terms of cash collected, increased that from 24,000 to 75,000. Cash per close went from 2,000 to 3,000. Close rate went from 33% to 60%. Okay, ROAS went from 2.7% or 2.7 to 10.93. Okay, DAL to book rate went from 1.85% to 18.25%. So overall, every single metric increased. Okay, that being said, I want to show you guys a bit of context and give you a bit of context on how bad this client specific situation was. These are the key metrics I want you guys to focus on. Number one, cost per shown call. $4,000 for someone to just show up on a call. Imagine paying Mr. Zuckerberg $4,000 for someone to actually just show up on a call when you're trying to sell a $9,000 product. Okay, that is extremely bad. Okay, they spent a total of $13,000 in the month of November on ads. Okay, and this is when he was working with a specific agency. I won't mention any names, but they were doing a terrible job. They spent $13,000 that month, had a zero ROAS, spent, literally had a cost per shown call of $4,000. Now you guys can see our metrics are 10 times better. Okay, cost per shown call $189, ROAS 10. I think this month, in the month of January, we spent around $4,000 on ads. Okay, so overall, our metrics increased like tenfold. So we absolutely cooked with this client. But enough about the results and the situation. Let's get straight into how we actually got these results. So the first thing we realized when we got into this client's business is we realized that they were doing everything. They were literally doing fulfillment, DM setting, closing, filming content, and honestly, they were in shambles. They were working 16 hours a day, booking all their sales calls, taking all their sales calls. They were literally a one-man team trying to scale, and it was literally impossible for him. So that being said, the first thing we did was, number one, hire a DM setter. Okay, this is one of the most crucial roles within our funnel. We do collect a lot of cash through the DMs. Okay, not obviously in the DMs, but we book a lot of calls through the DMs. That being said, we hired a DM setter. Okay, what did we start doing? We started messaging all the new followers. Okay, reactivating old conversations that the clients had with old people that said they would buy later down the line. Okay, and also just conversations that didn't end up closing that we thought we could just revisit. Okay, and we also started posting a story sequence every 2 weeks. Okay, that being said though, what do the actual DM conversations look like? Because this is very important. At the end of the day, you could do all these three things, but if you don't have the right DM setting framework, you're not going to succeed with this. So that's exactly what I'm going to break down here. Number one, this should not feel like a sales conversation. Okay, this should not feel salesy whatsoever. It should literally just be a conversation which you're actually interested in to figure out their goals, desires, situation, all those different things, and just have a conversation with people. This is the biggest problem I see with a lot of offers and a lot of DM setters is the fact that they just follow a script. Okay, and at the end of the day, that never ends up working because people can just feel when things are scripted out. When you ask a question and then you ask another question and then you ask another question and then you just pitch the call out of nowhere, it just doesn't make sense. So our DM setting framework and our DM setting like philosophy is pretty much just have a conversation with people, okay? Hear them out and just be a genuine human to them. Don't be a bot, just have a conversation, okay? So here's the actual DM setting flow. So number one, we start off with Yo. Very simple, very non-salesy. It literally seems like we're trying to just have a conversation with someone. And that's the biggest thing here is we literally just start off with Yo. We have a good reply rate on this, okay? It's not super salesy, works very, very well. So after we send the opener, Yo, okay, once we get a reply from that, we will hit them with this message. Appreciate the follow, bro. You're also running an online business, okay? The reason we send this and not other messages like, are you looking to get started with an online business is because those messages feel very, very salesy, okay? And, when you're trying to ask someone, are you looking to start something? And people know you already teach or you have a program, they automatically know that they're trying to be sold on something. And they're very reluctant to actually reply. So when we just ask, are you also running your own business? It feels very, very friendly. And it almost feels like we're just trying to have a conversation with them. Okay, and that's the biggest thing with this specific message. It's very friendly and there's no friction whatsoever. Okay, once people have answered that, we dive deep into their current situation. Okay, we figure out their goal. We figure out what they're doing for work. Are they enjoying it? How many hours they work? How much money they make? All these different types of things. How long have they actually been working at the specific job for? What other jobs have they done in the past? We want to get a good idea of their current situation. From there, we dive deep into their goals. So what are your actual goals what are your actual goals moving forward? So you said you wanted to start an online business. What business are you looking to start? Okay. Why that specific business? Why not e-com? Why not trading? Why not crypto? Why this specific business model? Okay. What are your goals with this specific business model? Why do you want to hit that specific goal? Like what will change if you actually hit that specific goal? Okay. You want to figure out, monetarily, what do they want to make, but why do they want to hit that goal? That's another big one as well. Okay. From there, we dive deep into what is actually stopping them. So, figuring out what has stopped them in the past. Have they tried anything else? Have they looked anywhere else for information? Just get it and figure out what's actually stopping them. Okay, so it's knowledge. Why knowledge? Like, what exactly do you need to know to actually succeed? So that's the biggest thing, is we dive deep into every single topic. Then from there, we just transition straight into the pitch. As you guys can see, it's not too complicated. I mean, our DM setter literally follows this framework step by step, every single conversation. At the end of the day, we do not have a script set out though, okay? Every conversation is different. Every conversation is unique. And the reason we do that is because not every conversation is going to be the same, okay? We understand that people are going to have different answers, and we can dig deep on certain topics. Some people are going to be very dry. Some people are going to be very warm. They're going to want to share everything about, their life. So it just depends on the conversation. And that's why we do not have a script, is because at the end of the day, we don't want this to feel very scripted. We don't want it to feel botty. We want to make the lead feel like this is just a genuine conversation. And if there is a fit, we will see if we can help them. Okay, that's the biggest thing, is we're not desperate as well. We don't try and pitch them too early. So yeah, that's pretty much the DM setting framework. It's not too complicated, but the biggest thing for us is we actually have a good DM setter who understands how to conversate with people. That's a big thing. And he's also a friendly person, so it's very easy for him to conversate with people. Don't go hire some, setter from the Philippines who's going to follow a script word for word. That is not going to work. Okay, that is going to sound very, very botsy. It's going to sound very, very salesy, and you will not have a good conversion ratio from that. Okay, this is what I recommend for all people in the DMs: is first of all, have a framework. Frameworks are good, but do not have a script. Scripts tend to make conversations very botsy and very framework driven. Okay, and there's no like actual leeway to have a conversation and a real conversation with a lead. So the biggest thing here is no scripts, nothing like that. It is literally just a framework, okay? And we dive deep into every single topic. So we dive deep into their current situation, their goals, what's stopping them, and also the pitch, okay? So we dive deep into every single topic. We probably ask anywhere from 5 to 8 questions per topic. So we really do dive deep. Now, once we had actually fixed the DM side of things and got the clients out of there and actually hired a good DM setter, what we needed to fix next was actually the funnel, okay? So a few things we changed. Number one, we fixed the messaging to align with the ICP. This client specifically was actually trying to sell to a audience who already had started a business and were looking to scale. We decided, that's not the best market to go after. Let's go after complete beginners and people who are looking to start something. Okay, so we had to obviously fix the messaging on the funnel to align with the ICP. From there, we had to reform the VSL to also align with the ICP to talk more to an unqualified audience, okay, or to a more B2C audience, if that makes sense. From there, we had to change out the questions inside of the actual funnel, because at the end of the day, they were very, very high friction. I think there was a total of 8 questions. 3 of them were actual typing questions. You actually had to type into the answers. That's a big no-no if you know anything about funnels. Making people type answers inside of a funnel is just overall very, very complicated. But that being said, we just changed a few of the funnels. I think right now we have a total of 5 questions. One of them is a written answer. So there's a lot less friction in the questions now, which has increased conversion ratios a lot. That being said, we removed the booking link from the funnel. So originally it was a book a call funnel. So they would opt in, or VSL opt in. From there, they would book a call. But now it's just VSL opt in, and then it's an opt in page. So they cannot book a call by themselves. We have to call them and actually book them in ourselves. I'll break that down in a bit. But yeah. From there, we actually added in a few breakout videos. Simply put, breakout videos are just videos that are educating an audience about a specific topic, about the program, about how much it costs, about, what's inside of it, what are they going to learn, how much time do they need for this, little questions that we can answer just straight away with like a 2 or 3 minute video. That's exactly what a breakout video is. And they simply put, just go on a thank you page. So that's exactly where they are. That being said, we also added in a few more testimonials to the funnel, and a few more testimonials that were relevant to beginners. That client specifically had a lot of testimonials with people who went from like 10 or 15 or 20K to like 30 or 40K. But we changed it around from people who went from 0 to like 10 or 15K. And that's the biggest thing that also did help us. So that's the main breakdown and the main things we actually changed within the funnel. From there, we changed around their sales system and the sales process. So before we started working with this client, this was their sales process. Okay, literally, he would book in a lead. From there, he would send a few emails and SMSs from Calendly and message them on Instagram the day before the call and make sure it's confirmed. That is literally it. Okay, and what I'm going to break down now is way more complicated, but it works 10 times better. Okay, our close rate has increased because of this. Okay, our show rate has increased because of this, and overall, this is just not a good sales system whatsoever. So let me break down exactly what we did to increase those metrics and actually start closing more people and getting more people to show up. So this is our IG sales process. So number one, people book in from IG. Okay. When we book them in from Instagram, we send them a Calendly link. We originally started sending them the funnel booking link or the funnel opt-in link. Okay. And we saw bad conversion ratio on that because when we sent them the funnel link, it almost felt like we were trying to pitch something. But when we just sent them a booking link, it almost felt like, oh, let me see if I can help you out, if that makes sense. So that's the biggest thing with sending the actual Calendly link in the DMs, is there was a better conversion ratio on that. Once people had booked in, they got a call from the dialer. On this call, we would literally just qualify them in terms of intent, get an understanding for their situation, their goals, what's the gap, qualify them for money, all those different types of things. I'll break that down now, but that's the main idea of the actual triage call. Triage call is simply put just a qualifying call once someone has taken an actual action. Okay. From there, we added them into a WhatsApp group chat. Okay. The reason we did this is to actually get people to further show up and to get people to actually consume the content we were trying to feed them. Once we added them into the group chat, we got them to send a message inside of the group chat. What we realized is a lot of people who weren't replying in the group chat were obviously just not showing up to our calls. So what we did is on the dialing call, on the triage call, we got the dialer to actually tell them to reply in the group chat to start that conversation, okay, and say, listen, I'm confirmed for X dates and X time. Okay, this did a lot of numbers from us. I think it increased our show rate for about 5%, which was good. Okay, from there, once I've actually sent that message, what the setter will do is he will send over a pre-call page or pre-call video. In this video, simply just breaking down a few testimonials, what the call is going to be about, how to prepare for the call. If there's any questions, just ask them in the group chat, and overall just preparing them for the call as much as possible. Okay. Once we sent over that asset, we would wait for them to actually react to the asset, react to the video, and then we would send over 2 more assets. The reason we did this is because we saw a bad show rate by sending all 6 assets at once. Originally, we were sending, once they got into the group chat, we would send all 6 to 8 assets at once, and then from there, we would just follow up, okay? And we saw a bad show rate because people felt, it almost felt like homework, if that makes sense, because when you're sending all 6 at once, it just feels like homework. So what we did instead is once they reacted to the first asset, we would send over 2 more. Once they react to those 2, we would send over 2 more. Once they react to those 2, we would send over 2 more. Very, very simple, and increased our show rate from about, 60% to around 72%. So this did numbers for us. Honestly, one of the biggest changes we made and made us a lot more money in the long term. From there, the closer is going to send an introduction message just to introduce himself so that when they actually get on a call with the specific lead, it's not like, who are you? Like, who am I even speaking to? Is this a real scam or is this real? And that's the biggest thing here is we just want to get them familiar with the person they're hopping on the call so that when they actually get on the call, they understand who they're going to be talking to and there's no like reluctancy to actually speak to this person and give them honest answers. Okay. From there, we send a message to them every single day before the call just to actually keep it top of mind because when you book in a call 4 days in advance, people sometimes do forget about it. And when you message them the day of the call, they've completely forgotten about it. They've got something else on, or overall, they just don't reply to you. So what we do is every single day before the call, we send them a message to just keep it top of mind. And that's the biggest thing here. Once it actually comes to day of the call, what we will do is send them a message on obviously the WhatsApp group chat, confirming the call, something simple like, oh, are you confirmed or are you still good for the call later today? If they do not reply, 4 hours before the call, what we will do is we will call them and make sure they're actually going to show up. Obviously, if they do not pick up, we will call them an hour after that and then an hour after that. And if they don't show up, they go into a no-show flow, which we basically just send them a bunch of emails for like the next 3 weeks to try and get them back on the calendar. And this honestly has worked a lot with the no-shows. We get a lot of rebookings just from that specific flow. But yeah, after that, they pretty much just show up on the call. This has done numbers for us. And the biggest thing with the WhatsApp group chat is it's forcing people to actually consume content before the call, which means they're obviously going to be very, very well nurtured before the call. A few of the assets we send is the pre-call assets, so walking them through what the call is going to be about, what the call is going to be about, a few testimonials, okay, how to prepare for the call, what the business model is, how it works, all those different types of things. We have a specific video on what the actual business model is to educate people on what it is and what they're going to be getting into. Another video we have is why this business model is the best business model to start in 2026. The idea is to actually teach them what the business model is and then to actually sell them on actually getting started with one. So that's the biggest thing there. After we've sent over those 2 assets, generally what we'll do is send over a few testimonials, okay? Generally, we send over beginner testimonials because that's most of our markets. But that being said, those are kind of some of the assets we do generally send over. And sending over these assets has done absolute numbers from us. I mean, most of the people we close out of, let's say 10 people, I'd say at least 6 of them are layups and complete layups. So this really, really does numbers for us. So yeah. That being said, that's our Instagram process and our Instagram sales process. We have a bit of a different sales process for the ad side of things. So the only thing different is instead of getting people booked in and self-booking, we book them in ourselves. So people opt in from an ad. So they go ad, VSL, opt in. From there, they get hit with a thank you page. Once they hit that thank you page and once they've actually opted in, what we will do is we'll get the dialer to actually call them and then qualify them from there. Once they're qualified on the call, we will actually book them in manually. So that's the only difference is on Instagram, we're booking them in, on Instagram, they can self-book, but with ads, we actually have to book them in. And this has been working wonders with us to actually get some qualified calls on the calendar. But yeah, one thing I want to break down quickly is what the actual triage call actually looks like. Okay, so part one, introduction and permission to chat. So awesome, it's X name from X team. I saw you submitted an application. Are you good for a quick 5-minute chat? Perfect. Where are you based right now? What time is it over there? How old are you? What are you doing for work? Just building a bit of a human connection and getting an idea for their situation. Okay, is that a full-time thing? How long you been doing that? Have you tried anything else in the online space before? Agency, trading, drop shipping, anything like that? Just to get a baseline of where you're at, like how far you with actually getting started with your agency. Okay, perfect. We get an idea for their current situation and where they actually are with the business. From there, we dig into the pain points. So, I appreciate you sharing that. What's the main reason you applied? Okay, perfect. What's the biggest thing you're struggling with right now that's keeping you stuck? Okay, is it more of a systems problem, a skill problem, a knowledge problem? What is the actual problem? From there, we will dive into their desires and goals. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. Say we're 6 to 12 months down the line and things actually go your way. What does success look like? Is it like 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month? Where do you want to be within the next 6 to 12 months? Okay, then from there we get an understanding of why they want to hit that goal. So if you hit that goal, what actually would change for you? Okay, what's the real reason that goal matters to you? Like if they say 10K, like why not 5K? Why not 15K? Why not 20K? Like why 10K specifically? Like why do you actually want to hit that goal? And get a contextual reason for why they want to do that. Because at the end of the day, if they just say 10K, what does 10K actually mean? It doesn't really mean anything. Like, do they want freedom? Do they want to travel? Do they want to help out their parents? Do they want to buy a new car? We want to get a contextual reason for why they actually want to hit that specific goal. Okay. From there, we identify the gap. Okay. So, just to get an idea, your goal is X. What's actually stopped you from getting there right now? Okay, perfect. Have you ever tried, to actually solve this before? Why do you think it hasn't worked? What happens if nothing changes over the next year? So like, what is the cost of inaction? Okay. And then after we identify the gap, we generally just say to them, listen, I think it could be a fit. If you're interested, we can get in a call booked in with the head of enrollment. And from there, we can kind of explore if we can actually help you. Very, very low friction. That's the biggest thing for us is when we pitch the call, we ideally like to keep it as low friction as possible, framing it as like, let's see if we can help you. Let's see, dive deep into your situation, that type of thing. Very, very low friction. We don't want to be like, oh, bring your credit card, make sure you have your credit card ready for the call, that type of thing. Very, very low friction. And that's the key to actually booking in calls with the dialing script. From there, we just want to qualify them. So are they the main decision maker? Is there anyone else that needs to be on the call? If they actually, do want to make a decision, okay? Do they actually have the finances for something like this? So just to respect our time and yours, what kind of budget do you realistically have set aside to invest in a mentorship like this or systems to help you hit your goal? Okay, totally fine. Even a ballpark helps. Generally people say like, oh, I don't know how much this costs or how much I would need for something like this. Generally, we'll just say $3,000 to $9,000 because that's obviously the offer price and what we are willing to take on people for. 3K obviously be a 3 splits. But if they do not have the $3,000, what we will do is then start asking questions to see if they qualify for our financing option. So asking the general questions in terms of monthly income, age, where they live, those types of things that will obviously take into account when we apply them for financing. So yeah. If they do not qualify for the financing options, the 3 splits, the PIF, if they do not qualify whatsoever, obviously we will just cancel the call from there or just tell them I don't think that's going to be a fit. But obviously if they have the money and we think we can close them from there, what we'll do is we will just start booking them in. So what's going to happen on the main call, our head of enrollment is going to dive deeper into your situation and start mapping out a clear plan for where you want to go and how you can actually get there. That being said, what time works better for you? So like 2 or 4 p.m. tomorrow, which time works better? The reason we say like 2 or 4 p.m. tomorrow is because we want to have as little decision fatigue as possible and, not force them to make a hard decision. So we always want to give them just 2 options, be like, yo, we've got these 2 slots available for tomorrow. Which time works best? The reason we do this is also because we want to get people booked in within a 3-day window and ideally the next day. We want to get them when their intent is high, okay? So ideally we want to get them in for the next day, not 5 days down the line. If you have your calendar open for more than 3 days at a time, you are doing something wrong. That being said, once we've actually got it booked in, what we're going to do is quickly just create a group chat with obviously the closer, the lead, and the setter. From there, we will just get them to actually confirm the call. So making sure they're 100% locked in. As I said before, we added this in because people who didn't reply obviously just didn't show up. Okay, so a way to combat that was just to get them to actually reply in the group chat, and then from there get them to show up. This did increase our show rate, as I said earlier, a few percentage. I'm not exactly sure what it was. But yeah, after we've actually booked in the call and they've actually confirmed the call, what we'll do is, just say, listen, I'm going to send over a few videos after this call. Make sure you watch them. If you do not watch them, we will have to cancel your call. But once you actually do watch them, please send over a quick reaction or a thumbs up or something like that in the group chat. And what I'll do is send over a few more. As I said, the reason we do this is specifically because it felt like homework when we sent over all 6 resources at once. But when we send over 1, then 2, then 4, it feels less like homework. So at the end of the day, this is a way better system we are running, which did increase our close rate or show rate a lot. That being said, that is pretty much our dialing script. Okay, the last thing I want to go through is actually the ad side of things. Now, in terms of the ad side of things, I'm not going to go too in depth just because at the end of the day, a lot of people won't even understand what I'm saying. But we ran two main types of ads. So number one, profile visits. Number two, direct CTA. The main types of frameworks and the main like actual types of ads we ran was number one, testimonials. So we just showed the results we were getting for the students. Okay, that's the first one. Second one is the story of the actual client. So showing people how he actually got to where he is right now, which created a bit of status delta, which from there obviously made people interested because they were like, how is this guy making so much money? And then obviously they opted in. But yeah, that's the main two types of ads we ran and the actual like strategies behind the ads we ran. Overall, I don't want to make it too complicated because a lot of people just won't understand a word I'm saying. So I want to keep it very, very simple. If you guys want a video on how we actually structure out the ad side of things, let me know. I can break this down. But yeah, I don't want to go too in depth. Obviously, a lot of people just won't understand it. But that being said, that's exactly how we scaled the client from $24,000 in the month of December to $74,000 a month in the month of January. This month, we're looking to do around 100 to 150, and I'm 100% guaranteed we will hit 100. 150 is what we're pushing for, obviously. But yeah, I hope you guys got a bit of value from this video. There's going to be a link in the description if you're a coach, consultant, or a creator looking for some help with your info product and your info business, and you're looking to get some similar results to this. There's going to be a link in the description for you to book a call, and let's have a chat and see if we can actually help you out. But that being said, if you don't actually want to book in a call, there's going to be a link in the description as well if you just want to message me on Instagram and ask a few quick questions. So yeah, hope you guys got a bit of value from this video. I'll see you in the next one.